Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I've talked in another report about tips that I can pass on, and I want to talk about something today that we never talk about. At least I never do, and you know, I probably should, because I think it would give you and me a lot better opportunity to catch fish some days when the fishing can be tough. And here's what I'm saying. You know, you can use 2 or 3 or even more. The DEC limits it, so you got to make sure you look at the rules. But 2 or 3 baits on the same line. And this can be highly effective. And I know as a kid, fly fishing, I always had 1 or 2, we call them droppers. So I'd have a fly at the end of the leader, then up a ways, be a loop tied in the leader, we called it a dropper, and then attach a different fly on that. So every cast, I was giving them 2 choices, and sometimes I'd use even 3, and on each one, it'd be a different fly. Now, maybe if you caught all your fish on one fly, then you'd learn and say, well, that's what they're hitting today. But it really can be effective. But here's the other thing. I know when I was out west and we were fishing some of those famous western rivers, and the only way you could fish them is in a drift boat. And you'd have one cast basically to any spot because the boat's always moving. And so you wanted that to be the best it could. And so the way those guides out west would do it is they'd use a Prince Nymph, which had a weight. It was a little tiny fly, weighted. Had a lead head or whatever, and so it would go down to the bottom. Then above that, they would have a hopper or some kind of surface fly. So it really made it much more effective because some of the fish you'd catch on that bottom, that nymph going along the bottom, and some of them they would come up to the surface and hit your hopper or whatever fly you were using. And this really gives you an idea of why using 3 different or 2 different, probably going to be easier to use 2. You won't get as tangled, and I think it'll be better. But 2 different baits on the same line, because it not only gives you a chance to experiment with different patterns and give them a choice, but it allows you to fish different depths on the same cast. The fish might be along the bottom, or they might be up near the surface. And it also gives you a choice where you can use 2 different size lures on the same cast. Because remember, sometimes the fish are very specific to a certain size bait. And by using 2 different sizes, it'll give you a better indication and probably catch more fish, but it'll give you a better indication of what they're looking for. So this is something, again, I've never talked about. I think I've been remiss in not doing it because I think no matter what we're using, we can do that. If you're just perch fishing and you could have a slab of bacon down on the bottom and you could have a live minnow up a bit, you give them a choice and you might catch a lot more fish. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.